Young Life.
Oh.
Hey, good morning, Facebook and Get Inspired, Michiana. You are watching Life Inspired, and our guest today is my dear friend Caryn Schierbeek from Young Life, Michiana. Thank you for being here, Caryn.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. So we want to shout out to Daryl Buchanan. Thank you so much for letting us use your song, Daryl. We Have Jesus. It features Will Cole, Tish Pittman, Janet Pittman, and it's available at darylbuchanan.net and also on iTunes. So thanks for that. And so if you're watching for the first time, we're going to ask Caryn 3 questions. We always ask about a turning point, a ... moment. We say, and then God. I used to start out with like Seinfeld, yada, yada, yada,
Okay.
the part you leave out, you know. And but we don't want to leave these parts out. The and then God is like the really cool thing. So most people have several turning points in their lives. And so Caryn's going to talk about one, what's the backstory, and then how's she walking inspired afterwards. So
Okay.
whichever
start
story.
with the backstory,
Yeah,
or do I
start
start?
with the,
Okay.
yeah, so start with a backstory for whatever turning point you're going to share.
Sure. So I've been on Young Life staff for 7 years now, which is cool and crazy.
In case anybody doesn't know what
yeah.
Young Life is, can you tell us that?
Sure. So Young Life is a ministry that's focused towards outreach for college, high school, and middle school age students. So, we're at Notre Dame, we're at St. Mary's, IUSB, Penn, Clay, Adams, and Jefferson, which is right up the street from here.
And if you want them at your school, let us know. We want to
pray for us too, because
Yes.
we're out here doing stuff. So
Yep.
the prayers would be really good. So it's a really great blessing and opportunity to be able to go into the schools and have doors open for us and
just
hang out with kids and
just
hear
be
their
friends.
stories. Yeah. So we kind of we have a front seat to their lives, and that's really great. Yeah.
So you were doing that for 7 years.
So I've been doing that for 7 years, and 3 years ago, I said yes to being kind of overseeing the whole area, which is a big responsibility, and I was wondering if that was where I was being called and really praying about it, and my husband and I felt like we were being called to say yes, and then we found out that we were expecting our first child,
right
like
at the same
immediately
time.
after, a sweet baby girl, Ava, and so that was actually my turning point, and I think has been really impactful for how I approach my work now. I think a lot of us in society think that if we work harder, we can make things happen. And I think through just parenting a child and becoming a mom, the Lord has taught me about stillness and the importance of just waiting sometimes and not making things happen. And that doesn't mean we don't work hard. And one of the quotes I sent you from Brene Brown was like, sometimes the most important and vulnerable thing you can do is just show up and then wait for the Lord to work, really. And so that was really my turning point, is God just being like, no, trust in me, be still, and know
Just
I'm God.
show up. I love that. Just show up.
Yeah.
I have a friend that has to go sit with someone today, and she's a little scared.
Yeah.
And all she needs to do is just go show up and sit.
And God
just
has
be.
the rest,
Yeah.
and we can spin our wheels a lot, and I still do that sometimes, and have to fight against myself, but to just say yes and to show up and trust God.
Right.
Yeah.
So the turning point, how did that happen? How did you get selected, and what was your prayer process with you and Brent to say, God, I think we're supposed to do this?
Yeah. So I was asked about the job, and then Brent and I actually went away together to be still and to pray about it over a weekend. And obviously, I asked for my friends and family to pray for me. My parents are really important in that process. And to just pray about it. And we're like, yes, like this is the time and this is what we were called to do. And to know that he was in that with me too was really incredible. So
how are you walking this inspired life now? You're the director of Young Life
Yeah,
Michiana. So
yeah.
what does that look like, especially being a mom?
Yeah.
How are you doing that?
Yeah, it's really hard. It's
we
really
have a
hard.
lot of working moms that
Yeah.
watch. So
Yeah, to find space in your day when you're a mom is just really challenging, especially to be still. There's not a lot of stillness with a 2-year-old. There's a lot of movement. But I think early mornings, late nights, to be able to carve out a little time to just pray and to recenter. And I think God's been affirming me too a lot and teaching me about focusing on the success of each day rather than where I've failed. So in that stillness, to take time and be like, okay, these are all the things that God allowed you to do well.
Today.
Yeah, or good things to happen. And so that's been really, really impactful, is to find time with God, because in the busyness you lose sight of what's true and what's real. And so he kind of helps me recenter in my truth and like what's true about me and what's true about the day and what he's given, you know? So, yeah.
I think that's very normal. I do that. I look at this list that I made of all the things that I want to do today.
Right.
Oh my gosh, there's still, like, I did this one, and then these other things came up that weren't on the list, and all these things that I put on the list are still not done.
Right.
And so I feel like a failure at the end of the day so often.
Yep.
But if we'll go and say, okay, but what did God do?
Right.
And it's his story, not mine anyway.
Exactly. And even with people, you work with people, and I do too, and you can feel like you disappoint someone. And then it's like, oh my gosh, actually, you know, this good thing happened for somebody else, and you just never know it. And it totally, you're right, it is his story that he's writing. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Young Life is this great organization. Is there anything, since we do have people watching, that we can ask? How can people pray for Young Life? How can people maybe volunteer and minister for Young Life? Or can we, since we do have watchers that might do that, what can we ask for?
So prayers are always for the people that are working with kids first, I think, because they're really on the front lines of what we do.
And who works with kids? You have parents working with kids. You have teenagers,
Parents,
like college kids, working with high school
teenagers,
kids.
college students. We have teachers, and all of these people are volunteers. They volunteer their time to be on the front lines, which is a blessing and an opportunity, but they also really face some warfare at times, and it's really challenging. So just pray for them, for their strength to go forward every day, to have wisdom with what they share with kids. And then a lot of our college age leaders are bringing kids on 2 camping trips this summer. So they're going hiking in the mountains in Colorado for a week, and then we're going to a summer camp for a week in Michigan. And so that's always, we just want to get them on the bus. It's an expensive trip, and a lot of our kids don't have a ton of access to resources, so we are trying to fundraise right now.
So even that would be great if somebody's not cut out to come and volunteer and spend time and go watch kids, you know, football games or chess events or whatever. If they are shaped to give, they could do that as well.
If they're shaped to give, and then if they feel really called and led to just care for college age students that are mentoring the high school and middle school students, we could always use families to just have them over for dinner, because a lot of times they're at Notre Dame and they don't get a good home cooked meal, or just adults caring for them. So that'd be really awesome too.
Awesome. Very cool. So how do you personally stay connected every day? You said you pray at night and you ask God to show you what the gratefuls are. That's kind of what you do?
And start the day in the same way, like help me to not focus on the things that I'm doing wrong, but the things that you're doing right, you know. And really, my friends and the community of Young Life are like crucial to my walk and just revealing God's truth further to me, you know, just bouncing off ideas and thoughts, but also just praying together, because I can pray by myself, but there's power in praying together too.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Do you have any advice for anybody watching?
Just show up, I guess, is my advice.
Cool.
Be faithful to saying yes to God and trust that He'll take it from there. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for
Thanks,
sharing.
Diane.
I appreciate it.
Thanks
All right,
for
you
having
guys, thank you so much for watching. We're always glad to have you at Life Inspired on Fridays. If you know somebody else that should sit on the couch, or if you would like to get in contact with Caryn, just let us know. Thanks. Bye.
Yes, we have.